to have someone believe in us, to have one person see a spark in us, helps us see the spark in ourselves. I think it takes only one person, whether it's a friend or a coach or a parent, a boss sometimes, who takes a liking to us. And almost all of us can remember one person in our lives, a coach or a teacher who took us under their wing and saw something that we didn't see.
Welcome to episode 1 of Let's Talk Leadership, where we focus on leadership aspects and what an effective leader does and how everything is brought about for a leader. Today's episode will be focusing on building and leading high performing teams. I'm joined by one leader that I have faith and trust in, Joe Valley, who I know and known for quite some time, and he also has some great insight on leadership. In this episode, we'll be talking about, again, high performing teams, and we'll go over team dynamics, empowering your direct reports, and collaboration within your team. The importance of building an effective team and building a high performing team. One thing for the organization is driving success for the organization. Without a successful business or organization, there is no job or occupation for those involved. Uh, another key aspect for leading high performing teams is creating innovation for your direct reports and yourself to be creative overall and really foster great results in that team. And within all that, I think it's important to address adaptability within the team where direct reports and the leader can focus on being able to adapt to any challenges within a business and any asking or any new involvement for the business. So first, I want to start off with building a strong team and discussing how to create a balanced team with the diversity and complementary skills. I think it's important to have these or build a balanced team just because well, actually, not even talk about creating one, just how one is developed, I guess so, or maybe that is creating. But one way to really foster a balanced team, I guess you would say, is creating clearly defined goals. I think it's important to and define these goals is because this is where your team's heading. This is what your team's going to be trying to achieve. Without any vision, you would say any vision for the team, then you don't really have anywhere or anything to work towards. And if you don't have anything to work towards or anything that you see in the future, then you're not doing yourself or your team any service there. Um, with that, I'd also want to add that in order to build a diverse team and have those skills involved, really choosing a mix of skills to hone in on for your tech or your direct reports, um, in order to best have or create um, results, you need to have different skills and use those skills to get to where you want to go and head in the right direction for the business. Lastly, really focusing on collaboration. I think this is one of the biggest and very, what's the word? I would say biggest and everything focused on teamwork and collaborating with one another. If you don't have a team that meshes together and gels together, then they're going to just really end up working against each other. So really honing in on collaboration with the team and empowering them to collaborate with one another. Um, do you have any insight on that, Joe, as far as building a strong team?
Yeah, so obviously, when it comes to leading your teams, one of the most important things with most businesses is how you're going to have a high performing team or how you're going to have a successful business. Without having a high performing team, you're going to have a moderate or, it could be even less than that for a business, and it's not going to generate much as far as, performances, customer impact. There's a lot of things that strive from having a high performing team. One thing that you were mentioning on here is focusing on creating a balanced and diverse team with complementary skills. One of the things we want to look at is every business is going to have certain aspects they focus on. So with me going into a technical field, we're focused on, we have a technology side, we have a physical hands-on craftsmanship side, but we still have that customer service aspect. So I'm looking at technicians that are having a background where they have excelling customer service. Maybe they worked in retail, maybe they worked in an area where they were a lot of customer facing and they were good with customers. But I also want to have that opportunity for people that have a technical background, someone who knows the ins and outs of the industry. And when I have them on a full team, they're able to shore up any weaknesses that each other have. So whereas one person might be struggling in his communication, I can leverage that person who is successful with his customer service skills, and they can kind of work together. And by having them work together, that allows each one to learn from each other, not just me, so it kind of saves me time, but allows them to work together, and then they themselves will start developing and become a high performing team and individual contributor as well.
I like that, Joe. It's good. And one thing I did fail to mention earlier was that we do hold telecommunication background, and as you could tell, Joe mentioned and really makes good points that it's good to break down the business in different sectors. Not even with different departments, but he broke it down to where he has technicians, that are in the field. There's also ways to improve them and, work together and really focus on different aspects of the business and bring it all together. I think it's really important to do that and not just focus solely on one performance aspect or one key part of the business. It's all going to mesh together, and it's always good to be proactive than reactive in that sense. Um, Moving on to empowering team members, I think it's important. I kind of alluded to it earlier. When empowering team members, ways to empower team members, one of my biggest things that I learned early on in my college career was giving autonomy to people, and even especially direct reports. Give them the ability to make their own decisions, but not shy away or not turn a blind eye to how the results are formed, I guess you would say. More so of give them that autonomy to make their own decisions and see how the thought process in it all, and what results they get with making those decisions. And in some cases, in the telecommunications, one thing I've seen is, is this is this a risk for the business, or can this technician make this decision and make a mistake and not have it be detrimental to the business or to the customer that we're serving. Really understanding that too is the business is the decision making there, is that going to have like a big impact anywhere? And something I alluded to again is decision making. Involve them in decision making. If for example, you have a direct report who wants to get into leadership or anything like that, and you have a decision that you want to make, and you can help, and it's something that doesn't need to be confidential in the leadership aspect, then bring them on and help or have them take you on their spin of things and see how they'll make that decision for for you going forward or for themselves going forward. One thing I think is huge, and for the autonomy and giving them the ability to make decisions, is recognize their contributions to what decision they make. Right, if they make an excellent decision, then make sure that they know that. It doesn't do them any justice if they make a decision and they don't know if it was a good or bad decision. Right, so provide that feedback to them and really recognize them for the efforts that they're making. If leadership is going to be something that they're going to look at, or they want to pursue one day, then they need to know right from wrong, and start building that leadership mentality. And not only does all this give them empowerment, but it also provides growth for opportunities in the future, such as again leadership, or maybe a different department that they're looking to go to. And I think it's important to address all of this. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. One thing that you pointed out, giving them, kind of the way that I look at it is giving them credit where credit is due.
Right.
So when they come up with that idea, when they make that decision, or they help the company or the business as a whole, give them that credit. That's not something that you're going to be the one taking credit for.
Mm-hmm.
Acknowledge them, recognize them in front of their peers, give them that opportunity to be like, hey, I came up with this idea. I'm going to get the credit. And it's not necessarily going to be big-headedness. It's just awesome. What I did actually showed a contribution and help. And that's something that's huge for most employees, especially someone who's trying to develop themselves and trying to get to that higher tier, whether they're going to leadership or promoting to a different department.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I notice is when I'm working with my team specifically, so I always try to set goals for the team, and that also helps to empower them. So, asking them for what's your 5-year goal? What are your plans within the company? What's your plans, or not even within the company, within your business, what you're planning on doing for your future? And by doing this, that's getting the technician to think about, what do I want to do in the future? And they're going to be the ones that are developing their own process, their own plans, and I'm going to assist them through there. So when we look at it, I'm going to be giving them some opportunities to improve. So I have one technician specifically, he's working on getting to a new role into our more technical side. It's like a maintenance department. So things that I've given him opportunities for are a little bit of segues into there where we've gone through new processes and he's gotten to trial them, and not only trial them, but as more people are added, he's getting the chance to train his peers. So this is something that's giving him the opportunity to develop himself while also learning a new skill and hopefully getting him to that level he wants. Um, One of the big things as well when it comes to finding who you want to empower, I don't always see it as I'm just going to empower everyone and be like, everyone gets to play around and do what
Right.
they want. We want to look at who has the actual aptitude to develop. Do they actually want to promote? Do they want to progress? What's their goal? If they just want to stay in the same role for 5 years and just be middle of the pack, okay, then you're not really one that's pursuing that.
Mhm.
I'm going to think of ways that I can try and push you, but I want to look at those who are actually putting in the effort and want the desire to progress and promote and better themselves. Because again, once they have that mindset, then they're going to better the business as a whole because they are succeeding. Then the company as a whole is going to succeed. It's going to make the job of their boss easier. It's going to make our customers more happy with the work that's completed. It just has an overall domino effect where someone has a positive mindset, they want to progress. I give them the chance to, and we continue to grow, and the business itself is going to grow from there.
Nice. That's good insight. That's really good. I was gonna ask you that question. You answered it for me right away. Is how do you go about empowering or looking for a direct report or a technician in this case, and you utilizing them to build on their strengths and then teach others, right? So it's really
Mhm.
good, and it's a big contribution for the business overall, and really for that technician or that direct report. Them getting that experience and then handing off that knowledge, right? It I know I keep saying this. It does no justice. It does no good. But it doesn't make any sense to put somebody in that position where they get all the knowledge and then not have them share that with the other technicians, right? Or even in just any business, right? If somebody was going to go to like a call center or a supervisor role or I don't know, like retail, whatever it is, if you have the knowledge and you're not going to use that to help others, then that collaboration is like it's a non-existent, right? So
Mhm.
it doesn't do any good, and I think it's really good to bring up that point where you recognize someone who has the aptitude, who has the drive to teach others and build on build on themselves and give back. So I think that's big, and that's kind of why I joined leadership personally. And off topic, real quick, that I would like to add to the podcast. Um, was it experience I had when I was young? I guess I'm still young. One thing I did when I was a kid, when I was playing little league baseball, I hurt my elbow. Ended up hurting my elbow. I was a pitcher, so my main thing was to throw the ball to a target. Because of hurting my elbow, I had to be out for 6 months. I think it was. I always forget. I know it's a big difference. 6 weeks or 6 months, one of the two. When you're a kid, time flies anyway, right? Six. I want to say it was 6 months, and I had to be out, and I couldn't throw baseball. I had to watch on my team. I still showed up to the practice. My dad was big on teamwork, so I still showed up to the practice, picked up the baseballs for him, whatever it was. But I couldn't throw a baseball, and I had to go to physical therapy. And to me, to sign up to help other people was my biggest thing. Help them get back to where they want to be or help them to where they want to go. I know, just being a physical therapist, that's your job, right? Help them recover.
Mhm.
And I don't know how it hit me or why this transpired, but seeing them help me get back on my feet and help me get back to where I want to go, that kind of like I don't know, that made me want to give back to others, right? So that kind of anytime I have something to share, anything I can do to help others, I always think about my physical therapist when I was 12 years old and who helped me get back to playing baseball again. So that's something I always will have is, giving back and spreading that wealth of knowledge that I have. So I know it's kind of way off topic, but that's kind of,
No,
it goes in.
that's an awesome mindset because one thing that I kind of wanted to mention as well is when we're looking at those opportunities, that's kind of what any of these life experiences we have. It should be viewed as an opportunity because it's something for you to grow. Maybe you're going to take it and look and be like, I'm going to run with this.
Hmm.
So something I've noticed, and this is kind of with anyone, whether a technician or just a person in
Yeah.
general, is sometimes we'll see someone who gets an opportunity and they're succeeding. So
Mhm.
when you were mentioning, you had to sit out,
Yeah.
they're able to, everyone's out there playing and stuff. It kind of builds that little bit of not fully jealousy, but envy of like, man, I want to get out there. So from a technician's perspective or any employee, sometimes there's that mindset of, if someone's trained in something new. So someone gets trained in something new, someone didn't get that opportunity and they
Mhm.
wanted that, or
Yeah.
maybe they didn't want it, but now they're looking at it like, shoot, I could probably do that.
Mhm.
That might ignite that inside of them where they're like, shoot, I want to actually start to progress and I want to start bettering myself.
Yeah.
So sometimes having someone as a kind of like a role model
Yeah.
of someone who's succeeding, someone who's always, wanting to succeed and do well, they're standing up there and others might gravitate towards that because from a leadership perspective, we're always pushing progression. We're always
Right.
pushing people to promote and do well.
Yep.
From your boss, of course, they're always going to push that. They always
Yeah.
want you to do better because then they look good.
Right.
But when your peers are the ones doing it, someone who's just taking the initiative and going, I'm going to do something and I'm going to better myself. Well, shoot, maybe I want to do that, or maybe he could do it.
Right.
Maybe I could do it.
Right.
And by that happening, again, the business is going to get better because everyone is having a mindset of, I could probably do that.
Right.
And it helps everyone grow. So something as simple as giving the opportunity for someone
Mm.
could cause others to think, I can do that. I want to give it a
Yeah.
shot.
Definitely. Yeah. That makes sense.